Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes! Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes and Robin. This is the podcast where talking about every minute of Batman and Robin is fee-fi-fo fun for us. I'm one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I am your other host, John Parker, and together we are the show that asks you, who are you?
We're Batman 89, except now it's Batman and Robin. I was happy to see we got a message about, like, we put that was in our review of the Batman 89 comic, and someone actually got in touch to say, like, oh, hearing that old intro again was great. Like,
I told you it'd be worth it finding it.
Yeah, it paid off. It paid off nearly instantly, too, so that was nice. But, of course, joining us again is a guest whose name I will definitely remember. It's, of course, Ivy Bishop. Bryarly Bishop.
What? What, Batman?
From now on, you're Ivy.
No. I'm Bryarly. She can be Ivy. But if anybody wants to cast me, happy to be Ivy. Anybody else, please give me a call, as long as it's not porn.
that is a crucial thing you've got to put out there. Yes, that's definitely not.
It is.
You have a kind of demure sort of vibe about. I can imagine you playing a good Poison Ivy. If
Thank you. I feel like I would I'd try to, like, I don't know. It'd be fun to play a villain. It'd be fun to play a new villain. I'm ready for a new villain.
Oh. Well, you heard it here first, listeners. Breaking news: new villain in The Batman, alongside Robert Pattinson. There, Bryarly Bishop playing Poison Ivy. You've heard it. Breaking news.
But today we're here to talk specifically about minute 62
of the Batman.
Of Batman, and well, maybe someday, but we'll see. But then mark that in your calendars, Bryarly. Maybe in like 6 years' time, we might be back. If they finally release the Batman, we might be talking about it. But,
the Batman.
But we're here to talk about minute 62, which opens with an identity inquiry, and it ends a minute later down in the dregs with some of the droogs. So,
ooh, yeah.
So we kind of covered this bit though with her saying, like, "Oh, who's Ivy?" and him being like, "I wish I knew."
I love that response though, because he means it in two ways to me. He means it in the way that, he wishes he knew Ivy's real identity, but also he wants to get to know her.
Yeah,
if you catch my drift.
In the
I wish I
sense.
Knew.
Yeah. It's also very callous against Elle Macpherson as well, because it's just like, I wish I knew who Ivy was and get rid of you.
I think it's a perfect response. There's no way to, like, come against that. Like, you wish you knew, like you want to know who that person is, and he's like, I don't know who she is. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
because then he can fall back on his whole, like, I was drugged.
Yeah,
thing.
It's not even like a lie, is it? It's a strange thing to say to her. Like, oh, I don't know. Well, must be some woman.
Again, it could be played for more tension, though, if he was more like, I wish I knew. Like, he's more like, this woman, there's something about her. She came in, and then me and Dick were, like, going at each other over her, and now I can't stop her.
Yeah,
it could be like something up with her. Like, I know my mind, and I know that this isn't normal and stuff. But then, of course, it does hard cut then to the newspaper headline. We're back with the Gotham Globe here.
Woo!
The Gotham Globe, the number one newspaper in Gotham.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We had a brief side quest last movie. We had the Daily Gotham. We're like, Daily Gotham. But we're back to, Alexander Knox and Vicky Vale's homestead. The Gotham
this is
Globe.
the real paper of the city, not that other pretender.
Yeah. And I'm noting as well, though, I guess all the journalists were really enamored with Poison Ivy, too, because you'd think the big story would be Mr. Freeze breaks into Flower Ball, steals Diamond, freezes a bunch of people, and then has a massive chase and is arrested by Batman.
Yeah.
But the actual front page headline is Mystery Guest and Commissioner Gordon at the Save the Rainbow costume ball.
I love that as well. Mystery guest.
Well, they were kind of both mystery guests.
It's true. Yeah. Although I guess they know he's at least called Mr. Freeze, but like they might be like, we don't.
That's true.
They call her like one of the ones he was calling her, like Plant Lady.
Isn't that they all kind of like moved towards her though, right? Like I remember all those people, like everybody was facing the stage, and then as soon as she popped up, they all literally all turned their backs on the stage.
Yeah. Actually, I do find the presentation of this weird, because I'm saying that's the main headline, because it is the thing that catches your eye the most. But you could say it's the caption to the photo, but you wouldn't put the caption to a photo in font that big atop the thing to distract from what the actual, like the headline then beside it is like fear, disbelief, and tension felt throughout Gotham City and surrounding suburbs. Whereas you should be more leaning again.
They're just very bad at journalism.
Well, there is that. And I have a question about this bit on the right, because obviously we just had Mr. Freeze do his thing, so yeah, okay. But in general, right, it says Gotham is in the grasp of fear and whatnot. Is it? Because I thought Gotham seemed a lot better in this movie, besides what Mr. Freeze has just done. You know, people are going out, having fun, attending weird balls.
Maybe it was better, and now that Mr. Freeze did break into the ball, they're like, oh god, no, not
it's
again.
It's back again.
Like, it's like it might actually prompt anxiety in people, but when you see things about like COVID numbers going up, and you're just like, oh Christ, no, come on, let's not do this again. It could be the same thing. It's like, we just had this place cleaned up. Like, things were finally working in Gotham City, and now you're telling me there's some other asshole coming around with a freeze gun. So yeah, it could be like that. That is the tension that everyone's like, please God, no. Although you think again, the main headline would be, we got him, we got Mr. Freeze. Like he's friggin' in Arkham Asylum now.
They've put him on ice.
Yeah, it wasn't as if like this could be like paper from days later. It was been like, no, that was the same night that the fireball happened. That's when they got him. So
yeah, it's weird. I guess you could, as you say, attribute it to Ivy's spell.
Yeah. Although I do appreciate, though, that in that photograph, you got her in color now. Gotham Globes updated from the old black and white photos we got in the other movies. You got her, you got Gordon, and then you do notably have Gossip Gertie between them.
Yeah.
But, like, she doesn't get a mention, as if, like, the Daily Globe is like, because she's like the Perez Hilton of Gotham. So this would be like the New Yorker saying Perez Hilton's in a photo in the background. I'd be like, fuck him. Like, Gossip Gertie. Like, she's like, I'm going to promote her rag.
I just took it that she was, like, part of the newspaper, and so she just optioned to not like
I think she could be. She could also work for the Gotham Globe, but I think her thing is Good Morning Gotham, so I think that's more like a gossip like a gossip radio show. It seems like she was on the radio when Ivy and Bane were listening to her.
She could also write for the paper, though. You're right.
Bane is so weird in this movie.
Yes.
What the hell?
He is...
What is that? What's going on there?
100% Poison Ivy's cuck boy.
Yeah.
Like, he's wearing a chastity belt. He's wearing...
God.
No, it's like, well, we've had time to think about it, so...
You were just saying, like, oh, this movie is so chaste, and now...
No, he's really into the kink.
I don't like to think of Batman and Robin as porn. That makes me pretty uncomfortable.
Hey, these are sexy movies.
Yeah. I mean, Chris O'Donnell is in this scene, Bryarly, so...
Yeah, but, like, clothed and acting.
I would argue clothed is often sexier.
Gross.
There was potential for things to get really gross here, because he's sitting, teenage boy in the Batcave by himself, looking, ogling a picture of Poison Ivy. I'm just glad there's no crumpled up tissues around the table or anything. Like, it's good. They could have gone really gross with this, but thankfully they refrained from
that. Would have been funny, because he is there looking at her, both to try and figure out who she is, but also because he just thinks she's stunning.
I think it's mostly just that. I think he is there. He just wants to look at their picture. He's not even thinking about like, oh, how can I track this woman down? Unless it's to be like, I want to ask her out. Like, I paid $3 million or whatever it was to get a date with her.
That's a good point. Did that money change hands? Does he legally, is he required to go on this date now?
Yeah, I guess it would be Batman, but yeah, I don't know if it was that guy, the really flamboyant guy in the leopard skin outfit, the MC. Would he come up at the end and be like, "By the way, Batman, you do owe us like $7 million or whatever"? He's like, "What?"
No, I don't remember. I was drugged. I don't remember anything.
That's why Bruce Wayne's thinking of Poison Ivy, and the others a bit. He's like, "It's the money, so much money. God damn it!
I better get that date out of this." And Robin, I always call him Robin, even when he's just Dick.
It is hard to keep calling him Dick. We've had 2 movies of it, but it always
Dickie.
Dickie.
little Dickie here.
Yeah, little Dickie. So little.
We call him Rick instead, I suppose. I mean,
No, I'm going with little.
slightly more formal.
There was a whole thing in the comics recently where Dick Grayson lost his memory, and he reinvented himself as Rick Grayson.
Oh, I like
And
that.
then for a while in the Nightwing comics, he was like a CIA agent or something. He was working for like some
Rick Grayson.
Milton. They always called him Rick Grayson, and then he remembered that he was Dick Grayson. It's like, well,
It's too similar. You think that the name being that close would trigger your memory anyway. Every time
Yeah.
someone says Rick, you'd be like, your brain would like do something like Dick. What?
it is better at least than like when Tim Drake, the third Robin, he's gone through a couple of iterations where he was Robin, then he was Red Robin, which is terrible.
I hate that.
And then he changed his superhero name to Drake. And it's like,
Oh well, a Drake is like a dragon, isn't it?
yeah, but it's more funny because he's known as Bruce Wayne's, like he's hanging about with Bruce Wayne all the time. And then there's a superhero called Drake hanging around with Batman.
Maybe like
This is
wait
really
a
like,
minute.
this is starting to put things together here.
No, I agree. That would ruin the illusion a little bit. As cool as the name sounds,
Yeah, I think he's back at time of recording. He's back to just being Robin now.
that's better than Red Robin. I've never liked that name. Never.
That's terrible. Yeah, I know. Red Robin apparently is a huge restaurant chain in America as well. So
Red Robin, yum.
I don't know if they did it beforehand or like what they did. You think that would be a thing? Like we can't name him. That'd be like calling him Burger King. Like it makes no
That'd
sense.
be a good villain. That that Burger King mascot they have in America, where it's the king.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be a Batman villain, the Burger King.
the '60s. If they were to revive the '60s show now, they would 1,000,000% work as a Batman.
For some reason, I actually didn't picture the Burger King. I pictured like a sentient burger.
Well, that's
with a little
what
crown on.
the logo used to be over here, at least.
Hmm.
Was
Did it?
was a sentient
Aw, that's
burger?
sweet.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Isn't there like a Mayor hamburger something for McDonald's or something too? Is it
There's
guy-
a hamburglar, but he's still a man.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then there's whatever the hell Grimace is.
Oh, I always forget about Grimace.
Although one of my favorite things in the history of the world is on the TV show Psych, because they have a big argument. Because Gus, one of the main characters, is insisting. I think because he wants to include Grimace in his community. He's insisting that Grimace is a black man, and that's one of his best lines in the show. He's like, "Sean Grimace is a brother." That's just like, that's amazing. What was my point with Dick? He's zooming in on Ivy with this computer, the computer from Blade Runner, seemingly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the microfiche machine, but more high tech.
Yeah.
Although I don't get this thing this glass that comes over to enhance it. It seems like it's making it worse.
Yeah.
It's like it's really fogged up, dirty glass.
It's foggy because of his breath. He's like, oh yeah.
It actually would make perfect sense too, because nowadays this scenario would be him just on his iPhone or whatever, like in bed, just like doing it with his fingers, like. enhance.
Niall, be careful with your words. I'm sorry.
But yeah, this is very much like old school. Like, yes, enhance. Like even internally to myself, when I'm ever zooming in on anything, I'm going to myself, enhance 40-50% and stuff.
It's so weird. It's not effective. Just use a mouse. It's easier.
And then sometimes you zoom in too much and you have to go back. But if you know the exact coordinates, then you can just say to the computer, it'll do it exactly
The
for you.
coordinates. All he wants to see is her face. And that's fine. Just
Trace and enhance, guys.
Yeah.
Gotta-
just freeze and enhance. Zoom in on that face. Because yet again, he wants to
zoom in again.
he wants to get to know her. If you catch my drift once more.
The way you said that sounded like it was going to launch into song.
How did you know I'd written a musical for this?
He wants to get to know her, and then the two of us would be like, know her.
Oh my God, Niall, can we do a bonus episode where it's Batman the musical?
Oh, 100%.
I can't sing, and that would be funnier, surely.
People didn't see I just tossed John a cane and a top hat off my thing.
What was in My Fair Lady? He cannot sing. He played
Was Rex Harrison? Is that it? Or-
Yes, Rex
Yeah.
Harrison. You don't need to sing to be in a musical.
That's true. I'm terrible though. It'd be like, ugh.
No, listen to Rex Harrison. Bless him.
That's a Pierce Brosnan and Mamma Mia. It's like my favorite ABBA song is SOS. That's Pierce Brosnan's song, and it's like, oh my god, you were
Butchering it.
massacring that. Jesus.
I'll just be like, guys
Have
and
you-
dolls.
Have you seen that clip with I think it's Colin Farrell? No. Is it?
Colin Firth, maybe?
Firth, thank you.
Mm.
It's like, it's not Colin Farrell. Oh no, actually, Colin Farrell, Irish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen him at a Starbucks in LA. You asked me for a celebrity story. I just remembered. I've seen him at a Starbucks, and I didn't recognize him. I just thought, like, oh man, that guy looks like rough. Like I thought he was. I thought he was like maybe living in his car.
Well, he was kind
you
of
know?
looks hungover.
Yeah.
And like my friend Scott like nudged me and was like, that's Colin Farrell. And I was like, oh my god, it is, because he didn't look like he was having a great day
Oh.
or like week potentially.
So no, he did have a lot of problems with like drugs and stuff. So that was
He looked like dirty and like unkempt, and like he'd been like, he did look maybe hungover. Like he just didn't look well.
Mm.
And
Although he's
I don't know.
You know that he's playing the Penguin in the Batman.
Mhm.
Like, and he's like,
I hope he's doing better. That makes it sound like he's not.
you see the, and then all the makeup, he's got like proper like, you know, bald cap, but he looks more like Richard Kind or something. He doesn't look like Colin Farrell anymore, so it could be more like, oh, I saw him when he
Oh,
was in the Penguin outfit,
my
and I
point.
didn't recognize him at all.
My Colin Firth point. There's a clip with him where they're like, if you ever met God, like what would you want him to say? And he was like, I'd like him to say, I personally thought you were very good in Mamma Mia.
Hell yes.
And they've been like, Chris O'Donnell will be like, I want people to say that I'm hotter than Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, it happened, kid. It already happened.
That was always his dream.
Schwarzenegger is just so. His features are very harsh, craggy. You know,
Yeah.
it's just not my type.
No,
O'Donnell's
that's-
kind of pretty.
Yeah.
I like that.
You're appreciating it, the bask in the O'Donnell in this as he's gazing at
It was
Poison
great.
Ivy. You get the bask, the gaze
And
at
you're
him.
right. Like Schumacher does make them very pretty.
But so the so he's sitting. He goes from one voyeuristic scenario where he's sitting ogling Poison Ivy to then getting this intruder alert. The cut into because someone's in the Wayne garage.
You say someone. I think it's quite obvious immediately to the viewer who this is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have actually the question. I'm assuming he set this up himself, because otherwise, would this
This
alarm?
is the second time.
Yeah.
right?
Would this alarm have gone
Yeah,
off?
he did set it up.
Yeah, because it would have gone off the last time she swiped the bike. So I guess unless
He caught her when she got home last time, and she was like, I couldn't resist.
yeah, I don't know if that was like he just happened to be in the garage when she came in, or if the alarm was tripped and he came down to wait or whatever. But
I don't remember.
yeah, it seems like this one he goes into full blown predator vision here on the on the screen.
Yeah, he spent money on this.
She
Well,
is
he hasn't.
stealing his bike.
Yeah, that's true. Oh well, his
To
bike,
be
or
fair.
at least Bruce Wayne's bike, which I guess Dick Grayson will be like, "Well, it's my bike too," because like whatever is Bruce's is mine. So.
Again, though, he knows it's her. Like, I don't know why he's bothered with this, predator style thing. He knows it's her instantly. He's like,
Yeah.
gotcha. Like, it feels like, oh, I got you again.
I kind of wish they'd leaned into it more, and you got the full.
Feel that way. I felt like it felt like mischievous. Like she's taking his bike, and she like lied to him about it, and he's like, okay.
Yeah. I was have to ask Bryarly because
Yes.
you of course you were an American lady who went to live
It's true.
in England for a
I
while.
am-
And of course, Barbara Wilson here, of course, American lady who went to live in England. And can you attest to the fact that London's kind of rough? And did you feel a kinship when you watched this? Or like, this lady is me?
I did not feel that London was as rough as many of the American cities I've been.
Oh,
Ah.
okay. I'm scared of London.
Yeah, like I felt more nervous in New York. I felt more nervous in LA and Atlanta. And then there was a city, I think it was Brussels maybe. And where like I got some people and I got followed by these men down like a bunch of streets who just shouted at us for a long time late at night.
Oh, God.
So that didn't happen in London. So it's like not the worst, you know? I wouldn't say that I was like comfortable to be like, la-di-da, I won't look at my purse. Like, it did feel like you needed to pay attention, but it didn't feel like, I wasn't like, I might get murdered today. You know?
Yeah. But did you feel any kind of way looking at Barbara Wilson? It's like, I relate to this character so much, though, because I like, you know,
I was totally focused on the way she talks.
What about it?
So she like tends to raise one eyebrow.
Oh.
And it's like when she's talking, it's like she's pursing her lips just a little bit, and everything she's saying kind of comes out a little bit like this.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, that does sound like that sounded immediately like an Alicia Silverstone impersonation you did there. So like, yeah, that's it. That's the voice.
But I just was like, I don't know. That's all I was thinking about.
Oh. Well, what? Because I know you're a couple.
I was like, I didn't realize that she was an American living in London. I thought that she just couldn't do an English. I thought she just couldn't do an English accent.
I think that's our thinking. Because she reads in the script as if she's supposed to be an English character, and I think because Alicia Silverstone's parents, like her mother's Scottish and her dad's Monty Silverstone, so he's very English. And I think they might have hired her thinking she could do the accent, right? And then they're like, oh no, okay, we're gonna have to rejig this because in the original script there was a whole.
Parents are.
Yeah, her parents are British, and it's like she does not.
She just didn't do it.
She just doesn't. I don't know if she just can't do it. Maybe she's like, that's not, because I think she was born and raised in like San Francisco.
Yeah, that's what she sounds like.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like maybe her parents were just never around, or she was inundated with American media or something. But like, yeah, she just said.
You shouldn't assume. I've brought it up before. You know, like I don't sound like my parents. We're not from the same place.
Yeah,
we don't sound remotely the same.
I sound very similar to my mother, and then my dad has a little bit of a twang. From his dad, who was from Texas.
Ah, see.
He was a head wobbler, and then his father was a head wobbler.
A proud tradition.
These head wobblers have been in my family for generations. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
As Bradley in her teenage rebellious years would just like constantly hold her head to make sure that
I just did super still. I'd get books, I'd put them on my head to prove a point.
The listeners aren't aware of this, but both Niall and I constantly wobble our heads during this show. That's what we're doing every second you're hearing.
That's why our voices always dip out of the microphone, because
they just kind of go like this, you know.
But I know, Bradley, you're a couple of years younger than us, and I know like Alicia Silverstone was a big thing in the 90s. But does she have any kind of cultural clout to like I want to say your generation, because I don't think you're that much younger than us, but does she mean anything to you in terms of like, oh, that's Alicia Silverstone, I grew up watching her.
I've seen her in Clueless, and she was great in Clueless.
Yeah.
She was harder for me to believe as like a motorcycle stunt programmer. She's just so cute, you know?
I think that's almost kind of, not to say, I'm sure she's been great in other things too, but it really is like Clueless she's so perfectly cast in that.
Perfectly cast. And with this, and like, I'm not trying to say that like you can be too cute for like motorcycles and science. But I'm just saying that it was harder to be like, yeah, that's who this girl is, like, on site.
Yeah.
Her hair is perfect, though. Oh, my God. I wish I had hair like that. It's perfect.
That's how you can tell it's her, I think. You could like that hair looks beautiful even in the goddamn Predator vision.
It's gorgeous. Like, her hair is the prettiest hair. It's amazing. But I have a lot of very fine hair, but she has like thick strands, I think.
Well, you're talking like, to the right people for hair envy. Both of us are bald.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at Jack Nicholson. I'm like, oh, that's some hair right there.
Her hair is perfect.
And we were both hair people, weren't we? When we had hair, we were both proud of our hair.
I still dream about it some days.
Same. That's put a downer on the episode.
Yeah. But of course,
just play a little Careless Whisper.
I do love saxophone, so that would perk things up.
Hell yeah.
Of course, Barbara does. She swipes the bike again, and of course, Dick comes in to give chase. And then we cut to the exterior of Gotham and very recognizable sounds if you were in Ireland in the 90s. Because we get Moloko playing over the soundtrack here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I only know them, I don't know, 2 or 3 songs maybe.
Yeah, they were. They're long since disbanded now. But like, did Moloko ever make it to? Oh, actually, I think this song did quite well in America. This particular song, but does Moloko mean anything to you as a band, Bryarly? Or?
Nope.
Yeah, their big hit was that one. Bring it back, sing it back, sing it back to me. That was huge over here in the early 2000s.
Oh, that was absolutely everywhere. Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I listened to a lot of oldies as a kid.
That's a sensible attitude.
So I was listening to like Simon and Garfunkel and like the Beatles when I was, in like 5th, 6th grade.
That's a better way to live, trust me.
But then we come into a podcast years later, you're like, oh, you don't know who Moloko is, go on.
Yeah, you're like, is this culturally important to you? And I'm like,
Well, we're not going to invite you back for our Moloko podcast we're doing after the end of the season.
Wow. That's probably for the best. No, I can't. That's probably the right call. What if I drew a really soulful drawing based only on the name?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, that would be the logo for the show. Yeah.
But no, I think it was particularly, like, not only was like one of their singles was massive as well, but the lead singer is Irish. She's Roisin Murphy. So, of course, my dad has excellent Irish dar. And so the fact that any Irish person becomes vaguely famous, my dad's is like just all over them instantly. So anytime Moloko's ever mentioned, he's like, oh, she's Irish, isn't she? I was like, yeah, she is.
You can't get much more Irish than Roisin.
Yeah. I think she's from Wicklow, too. It's like, oh, she's proper deep in the woods, Ireland. Like, she's like intensely green Irish. But, and yes, she hooked up with a guy from Bristol, I think he was from. And then, the two of them, they were Moloko. They were a couple. And I think that this song, Fun For Me, comes from their debut album, which was entitled Look at My Tight Sweater.
Oh.
Which apparently was Roisin Murphy's chat-up line to the other guy in Moloko.
Oh, that's quite funny then. I like that.
I was at a party, she came up to him, tried to seduce him, and said, look at my tight sweater. And he was like, do you want to record an album? And I guess that's how that happened.
I'm taking notes.
That's how you let someone down. You're like, well, I'm gonna reject them by instead getting them on a project I'm working on.
Yeah. That's kind of weird because I think she's an acclaimed solo artist now. But this song, I actually really like this song. But she's singing it as if she's like a 1940s gumshoe gangster. She's got a real like.
That's great. She does do that sometimes. Like during the lockdown of 2020, she was always on YouTube doing like live shows from her living room, and she would sometimes do that kind of a voice. Yeah, I think that must be in her repertoire.
Oh, sounds great to me. Yeah. So then the song "Fun For Me." I was trying to looking through the lyrics, and I was like, "Who is this? Why would you tie this in?" Because this was obviously deliberately chosen. It was previously released in 1995, didn't do that well. Brought into the soundtrack for Batman and Robin, re-released, got to number 4 in the US dance charts, so it did quite well out of it.
Hey, that's a trend with Batman, isn't it? Because Kiss from a Rose was a previous, I don't want to say bomb, but it didn't do very well.
Yeah, it's like Joel Schumacher knows how to revive these songs.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen, just as a side note, was there's this comedy show in Atlanta called, the place is called Dad's Garage. And they did this sketch that was just a scene. And the scene that they were given was like people doing yard work. And that was it. And then they just played like Kiss from a Rose.
Amazing.
And the people had to like mime what was happening. And it ended up like being this like really crazy, affair between like the man and the other guy doing lawn work on the other side of the street. But his wife is right there with the rake. And it was like hysterical. There was no dialogue, just Kiss from a Rose blasting over the speakers.
Hell yeah.
When we talked about it, it's like the lyrics are very abstract as well. So we were sitting going like, what is this song even about? Like it's.
Did you know that when it snows?
Yeah, it's like a kiss from a rose on the gray. Like the gray what? Like what?
What?
Yeah,
like the gray matter.
I think we brought this up at the time, but I always thought the lyric for ages was the grave.
that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Would be the grave, because
Yeah.
you put a rose on a grave.
Exactly. That's why it was clearly a grave, right? And it's Batman.
I think we ended up
Sure,
thinking
yeah.
it might have been Grey Matter because it was more about Chase Meridian, the song. It's like, she's a psychiatrist, so I guess Grey Matter, brains, kiss from a rose on the grave. It's like, oh, maybe, but that's all Batman Forever talk.
Yeah, we're not going back there again.
We're never going back. Unless they release that Schumacher cut, then I'll be obligated to at least review it.
Hell yes.
Sorry, John, because I was talking about the lyrics of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I can't really tie it into any character in this movie, because it seems to be more about like just dreaming about other things that you could be doing and stuff. And like one of them does tie into, I guess, because they're going to like a very dangerous bit of fun times of this crazy. Is it a drag race, motorbike drag race, or
Street race? Yeah.
street race?
Yeah.
But it does have the chorus does go, I dream that I'm sitting in the devil's company. He gave me a solemn promise, fee, fi, fo fun for me. So I guess it is like devilish fun. Maybe that's what that's all they're trying to evoke in it, really. And of course, because Moloko are a trip hop band, which of course is a blend of like hip hop and electronica, and just meshing things together. And if you get to the scenery of this, it's got like all kinds of different cultures and all different outfits, all just blended together. So maybe that's what they were going for. Like, we're just sort of devilish fun with the music of a genre that's just like a lot of postmodern things mixed together and stuff.
I think that is deliberate, because this is a totally new version of Gotham. Like, visually, this doesn't look like anything we've seen before. It's a new vibe, and I'm not against it. It's unique. I'm kind of digging it, though.
Have you seen anything like this in your travels, Bryarly, between England and all over America? Have you I've hung out in neon street gangs dressed as French aristocrats and stuff?
Have I ever hung out with a neon street gang? Not. I mean, actually, downtown LA on art crawl nights is somewhat close to that, but there's not drag racing and stuff.
No. Not yet. You be the change you wish to see, Bryarly. I mean, come on, get out there.
Oh, God. Actually, when I first saw it, I thought that it was going to be the Joker. I thought that it was like the Joker's clown gang. I was like, oh, the Joker's in this movie too. Neat. And then he was not.
They do have in the Batman Beyond cartoon, they did have a gang called the Jokers with a Z. And they did actually look very much like this, so you're not far off with the idea there, I think. But yeah, of course, it could get fantastic. Actually, John, you were about to say something. I interrupted you. Sorry, you can go back to it then if you want.
No, it was just about the city. So I got to say it because it tied into what you then did say. So it's fine.
Oh, okay. But yeah, this is beautiful. This fantastic pan down to just like the derelict back streets. I think we get a little sign. I thought it was the hotel from your first visit to Batman and Bryarly. We had Bruce Wayne. He was leaving down the roses when you were on, wasn't he?
It's definitely around that scene that you were, because that was when all the steam was coming out of the vents.
I remember the steam more than I remember the roses.
That and Vicky Vale's hat eating her head. I remember that as well.
No, this is a totally unique look, though. Has there ever been another Gotham like this? Love it or hate it, at least they did something new.
Oh, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. I really love, too, that this idea that, if one thing's caught on from Batman is having your own signal, because all these people have their faces that are, projected onto the sides of buildings and swing around all over the place and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like later on when Robin's like, I want a Robin signal up in the sky. It's probably more because I went down there. Everybody down there has their own signal and I don't have one. What the hell, man? I thought it was only you.
It's like this cool new trend in Gotham.
Buy your own, make your own signal. But they're all so well done too. There's real artistry to these street gangs. It's fair play to them that they're.
Oh yeah, they're really pushing the boat out with their whole presentation, aren't they? They have a thing.
I don't know, you do get obviously beautiful graffiti artists. This feels like graffiti times 10. It's it's graffiti, but you can project it onto any building you want.
But then that defeats the point, as in it is then not permanent, or semi-permanent. I suppose graffiti is. That's its point, isn't it?
Yeah,
it could go away at any moment, but it's there.
Of course, we do get a bit of actual graffiti on the wall with this big dragon's head. And I was thinking maybe because, of course, in Batman Forever, we did have that neon gang briefly that was led by Dawn the Dragon Wilson. So maybe it's a little tribute to him. I don't know. Potentially. Or is it, would you call it a dragon? Is it more of like a griffin kind of looking thing?
Yeah,
or?
actually, maybe. I was unsure. I think you might be right with that second one there. Like a griffin? Some sort of a bird? Yeah.
Of course, then we do cut to some of the very notable street gangs of the street deer. The first one we get is a bunch of guys with eye patches dressed as French aristocrats, which is a look.
I hate that gang.
You hate that gang? Oh, what's
I'm just joking. I don't know. I imagine a gang that is just that. Like, what are they? Are they the French club? Like, you would have to taunt them constantly.
I absolutely love it. I like all these gangs. They're all rejects from the Warriors.
Yeah. Of course, it would be great, though, during the bike race, those guys are going around and one of them falls off a cliff or something. You just hear, like, Sacre bleu!
I was wondering if they were all sourced from the same kind of fictional world, because then the Droogs are there.
Yeah. They look exactly like the Droogs.
Okay, like, are these different books, or... Like, where are these guys coming from?
I do think there is a weird three-way tie-in to this because, of course, the band Moloko, they take their name from the drink Moloko, which is the milk in Clockwork Orange, which apparently is also the Russian for milk as well. Mm-hmm. So they got them playing over the top of it. I can imagine there's probably somebody sitting listening who knew that already, was screaming the entire time we're talking about Moloko and didn't mention it. But then these guys, Stanley Kubrick's follow-up film to A Clockwork Orange was Barry Lyndon, which had, was set in the 18th century aristocracy. And there was a character in that called the Cavalier, who was played by Patrick McGee, who was also in A Clockwork Orange. And he had a big white powdered wig and an eye patch. So I'm almost thinking they might have been doing like a little Barry Lyndon reference here. To have, these guys there too.
They should have shot all of this with the camera that he used for Barry Lyndon. That one he got from NASA. Yeah.
Oh, I hate period dramas. Like, I just can't get into them. Like, there's something about it. I like the look. Like, I love the look of these guys, but I couldn't watch a whole... Barry Lyndon was a tough sit for me.
I think it's because people often decide that, back then, everybody must have been very dry and serious all the time. It's like, no. Like, you don't have to make your movie boring just because people spoke a little differently.
But the one thing I get you through Barry Lyndon is it does look, because of that, the lenses they gave him, it looks incredible. Like, it's such a beautiful film.
The camera he got for faking the moon landing, that's the
conspiracy. Of course, yeah. That's really great to see some astronauts in the background here too, as a further, some guys hopping around and stuff.
Why
Zero
not?
Gravity.
Yeah, do it. These gangs are weird.
We do pan over then to get the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange. Most recently featured in Space Jam, A New Legacy.
Wow,
yes.
Really? That is so inappropriate.
It's the first thing we all think about when we think Clockwork Orange. You think basketball in space.
Yeah, it was so weird. In the background, you get a lot of Mr. Freeze from this movie's in there. Friggin' the Danny DeVito Penguin. A nun from the Ken Russell The Devils movie. It's like, what are you doing, Warner Brothers? Like, what the hell is...
Just throw a nun in there.
Yeah. And then it's like in the middle of it all, it's like, the Droogs. Like, they're not lovable guys. They're full-blown, like, sexual assaulters. They're like friggin' murderers. They're properly violent criminals. They're not fun characters to throw in the background.
I didn't even watch the movie. I read the book and was like...
The thing about A Clockwork Orange over here is, like, I used to be, like, fascinated by it when I was a teenager, but that's because it was banned over here. Yeah.
Well, wasn't it actually, like, didn't Kubrick ban it himself?
Yeah, it'd be one of those ones people like, it's technically not a ban. Yeah. He just asked for it to be taken out of circulation because he was getting... There was allegations of copycat crimes in the 70s, and he was getting protesters outside his house, and he was getting...
Wait, what was this?
This is in, like, when the Clockwork Orange came out in England. There was, like, not tie-in crimes, but crimes that were linked to it by the media. And then he was, like... Kubrick was sending, like, death threats and stuff by people. And so he asked for Warner Brothers to just take it out of circulation in England. And for years, you couldn't get it. It was, they kept saying it was banned, but it was more like he just yanked it out. And they yanked it out of circulation. And Yeah, then when I was a teenager, this was like the most fascinating. Because you're told about this movie is so brutal, and it's so the director doesn't even want you to see it and stuff, and it's so violent. And then you see all the imagery looked great with like all the bowler hats and the white the white bowler suits and stuff, and the weird cod pieces, and it was like, and then you'd get bits to show you like a bit of the soundtrack would be on like a CD somewhere, and it's like, oh, it's this weird Moog synthesizer music. Oh, it sounds so cool. And then they always had this allure with the fact that Moloko named themselves after a thing in it. You had like the Korova milk bars in Train Spotting. The Blur, they did a music video based on it when it was still banned. It had this real underground, cool cred, A Clockwork Orange. So then when I finally saw it, and it's not that violent by today's standards, and it's more of this kind of very dated 70s quasi-surrealist picture, I was like, oh, that was not what I was expecting at all. And I like it now, but it was it did once the ban was lifted, a lot of the allure got sucked straight out.
I'll admit I don't really like it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't find it particularly interesting. I get what it's trying to say, but I don't like the way it's saying it. I just find it very boring. And whoa, look at him, he's crazy. He's raping people. Okay, great. That's wonderful entertainment.
Yeah. Well, that's only the first 20 minutes of it, and then the next 2 hours are all about his comeuppance and whatnot.
Yeah, but then it kind of it does like a weird double thing, doesn't it? It like tries to make you feel sorry for him after a while, and
yeah, I think I say that's the moral quandary of it is like if someone is truly horrible, if you rob them of their humanity, is that not as bad as killing them anyway and stuff like that? But
yeah, it's got interesting themes, but I don't like the execution.
But I just love Malcolm McDowell in it. I love the music. I love the sets and stuff. Although it is for like, considering Kubrick's the guy's like this vision of space he gave you in 2001 today looks amazing. His next movie to be like, that is the most dated vision of the future. That's the most 1970s London future I have ever seen in my life. But anyway. But yeah, so does anyone have any other notes for minute 62, or should we go out on that clockwork note?
Ooh.
I'm trying to remember if there were any burning trash cans. I just want to say every time that shows up, I appreciate it. It's just such a trope. It's great.
I thought like you were going to be like, I made a burning trash can one time and I was really proud of it, so I just want everyone to know that I did it.
No, just like when a burning trash can is in a scene, that's how you know it's really a gritty scene that's about to happen.
But green fire, that's how you know it's Joel Schumacher's Gotham. Yeah,
it's weird.
It's edgy and neon.
The draft describes the scene in an interesting way, I think. I really like this wording. It says, groups of motorcycle gangs have gathered. Each is represented by a single racer. Leather-clad, costumed, dyed hair, pierced faces. Boys and girls for whom speed is a drug. The streets their home. Like that's
Speed is a drug, is the best part of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't specify which speed that's talking about.
His speed like brackets the geophilosophical force of speed, not the actual drug.
They really went all in on that for the draft. It's like, holy crap, you didn't have to hit it that hard, but you did.
You know exactly who they are. And then they were like, yeah, we could do that. Instead, we're going to do some French aristocrats.
Yeah.
Some truth.
The description I just read makes it sound a bit tougher and rougher.
It does.
I was looking too into like to see if there's anything else with these aristocrats. It's like there must be a Batman villain that was like a French aristocrat.
Just call him the aristocrat.
Yeah, but shockingly there wasn't. There's a guy.
Count.
Yeah, there was a bit in the Harley Quinn animated series recently, like literally within the last year, where that's a great show, and there's a period in it where Batman is thought to be dead, and the city's kind of in like it kind of turns into Arkham City, where like the criminals are now ruling the city. And there's a new superhero called the Macaroni, who dresses like this, and he's got a huge, massive, 6-foot wig on him, and it's actually Alfred in disguise, dressed up as an aristocrat. And inside the wig, he's got like chainsaws and guns and swords and stuff hidden that all pop out in little arms when he needs them.
Good for Alfred.
Made me think of that for a brief second there. I was like, I don't think this was obviously 24 years later, so I don't think that's what they were going for.
Alfred wanted to go on adventures, good for him.
Yeah. But But yeah, I'm happy to wrap this one up and move on to 63.
Yeah.
Cool.
We will head off.
I need to go to the bathroom again, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, me too. So that's no problem.
We will head off now into the dark, dark night. So do join us again on Friday, listeners, for more wonderful Batminute and Robin action. See you then.
Next time, we're spending most our lives living in a Gotham paradise. We're spending most our lives living in a Gotham paradise. There's fee-fi-fo fun abound in the urban underground, with dragsters and delinquency all around. We have Coolio and booze, Moloko plus droogs. But while threats are thrown and bets are placed, which clandestine cycling ace is gearing up to take first place? It's about the power and the money and the power, bat minute after minute, bat hour after hour. Same bat pod, different bat minute.
We'll be back.
back.